a program to clone you.
Cool.
No intro. I told you so. I told you so. I told everybody. You didn't believe me, did you? I told everybody this. I made a video telling everyone that Bonnie was going to be Luffy's apprentice. In this chapter 1118, entitled Being Free, we see it. We see it. Bonnie becomes Nika. Bruh. Okay, here's the thing. I knew that she was going to become Luffy's apprentice based on the entirety of Kuma's flashback. So, if you don't believe me now, then you are lost. This has to be the case. She is going to join the crew. I'm sorry, bruh. She is. I'm not saying she'll be the last one. I've never said that. But she's going to join. She will be the 10th, but she won't be the last. The way things are set up, that's not how it's going to be. But I will say this. As far as things are going now, there is no way she's going to set off on her own. There is no way in the world that she's going to become a revolutionary. Why do I say this? You do not have an entire flashback of which she knows everything of. So everything Kuma knows because of the bubble he left behind, she knows. She knows about Thriller Bark. She knows about Shibodi Archipelago. She knows everything that Kuma has ever thought about Luffy and his crew. She knows that if there was anyone out there in New World to be Nika, it would be Luffy, who has literally become Nika. She knows the dedication of the Straw Hats, and she knows that her father thought that these people would be the ones to save the world. Therefore, why do you think that she would go and join another organization? Why do you think that? For everyone who says that, why do you think that? Additionally, and we're going to get to the chapter, hold on. Additionally, I have heard people say on TikTok that it is possible that with Luffy's powers, he'll bring Kuma back to life. That would ruin the narrative. As far as reviving goes, that is specific to two devil fruits. The soul fruit and the revive fruit. If there's not any of those in play, no one's coming back from the dead. Okay, it would absolutely ruin Kuma's character if he lived now. It would ruin the story if Kuma could just be brought back to life by Luffy. It doesn't make sense. We still have to have consequences in the narrative. Nika isn't a get out of jail free card for consequences. Now, with Bonnie turning into Nika, do I think it's all the way? Is she going to have all the powers of Nika? This is possible. We don't know how far things go because looking at her, it seems like she still has the sash. I'm not sure if that's real or not, but it seems to be an exact replica. Her outfit has changed because before this, she was wearing her Egghead Island outfit. So all the same principles are applied, but because of her having worse stamina using Distorted Future than Luffy just using Gear 5, she probably can't last as long. So this, again, a journey for both of them to learn how to control this power properly. That's what the rest of the narrative is going to be like. Also, I know we're at the end, but I just want to say this. The point in which you see Kuma looking up, and then there is a little flashback to Kuma in the church promising Guinea that he would raise Bonnie well, that is. That's where he passes, because this is the perfect setup. He sees Nika and he sees his daughter becoming Nika. This is the perfect send-off. Bringing him back at this juncture would be disastrous. Absolutely disastrous. Brother, this is the best This is the absolute best thing that could have happened. This is amazing. There is no way in the world she doesn't join the crew. The idea of her going off with a bunch of pacifistas or whatever is ridiculous to me, because now with her being a part of Luffy's crew, that only makes Luffy's crew more dangerous as a Yonko organization, because now they have someone who can shut down the main weapon of the Marines, which has been the pacifistas. The only thing she can't touch, apparently, from how things are being set up, are the Seraphim. Now, I'm not sure if she can affect S-Bear, because S-Bear is the only one who might be affected since he is a clone of Kuma, or two, because he is Kuma, he might have some like repressed memories that come back upon seeing her. So he just might be useless against her anyway, chip or no chip. You can't see what I mean? But the rest of them, no, she can't control them. I don't think she can, because they don't have the same model type as the other pacifista models. But I'm telling you, she's the 10th. I did that whole apprentice video. Go watch it. I'm putting it up again. Go watch it. No, I'm serious. Go watch it. Go watch it. I called her fruit before it was officially named. I called what it would do. I called upon the theme that it will probably entail of, meaning it will be age, but it'll also be age, meaning like a supposed thing that could happen. I called all of it. I have called all of it. I have not seen anybody else on YouTube call it like I did. And then I called her position in another video. I called the whole apprentice thing, which is what we're seeing here. So I called the age fruit, and I called what her position would be in the crew. There is no way these things can be true. There's no way. I won't believe it. I won't. She has to be, because what else is this? I said she would be a follower of Nika, a sister of Nika. I didn't mean it literally. I meant it in like a nun sort of way. But man, that's a double entendre if I've ever seen one. She literally is a sister of Nika, a Nika sister. This is crazy, bruh. This is insane. I love this. This is insane, bruh. I'm nearly speechless because of how perfect this is. And again, and we're going to get into the chapter. I'm going to talk about this stuff, but it makes so much sense that this would be going on, because now, based on what she does to Doll and Bluegrass, she turns them into little girls along with the Sea Beast, which this is the first time we've seen that her powers can work on something that's cybernetic. I just want to point that out. But what's also funny about this is that, like I've said so many times before, she is the SBS gag. In the SBS, there are times in which Oda draws characters in different timelines and how they'll turn out between the ages, right? Her power is just that gag. Her power is just that gag. So now she can do that gag whenever she wants, if she's going to be a part of the crew, which I think she is. And that allows Oda to do the gag whenever he wants, because she's always there. It's just an excuse to draw more funny stuff, like how Brook is. Brook's a big gag too. He has a sad backstory, and it's all explained how he can do the things he does through his abilities, but he too is a funny skeleton gag. So Bonnie's a funny age gag. And it doesn't help too, like in some cartoons, there's always like a weird baby episode in which the character gets turned to a baby. So she too is that trope as well. Bruh, it is what it is. It is what it is. She is joining. We have gone too far and too deep into the woods with this for her not to join. Do you know how much setup would be wasted? Think about it. Think about it. How much setup and how much planning would be wasted if she doesn't join? This is stuff going back to Thriller Bark. All of that, even though it's set up for other characters, it's set up for her, because all those events she knows. Don't forget that. All of those events she knows about. She knows about everything. Everything Kuma has seen, she knows, bruh. But okay, I've talked enough about it. Going back up to the top. In our cover story, volume number 8, we have Yamato finally leaving the flower capital, which, okay, thank you. She's got her backpack on. She's got her bento box. She's traveling. Good. I'll say this. That's another one that's going to join the crew. She's joining, because you don't have this in the same chapter that Bonnie turns into Nika. You don't have it. You don't have it. She's joining too. Because this, again, all this setup, you don't. It doesn't make sense. I refuse to believe that none of these people are joining. It doesn't make sense. You don't set all this up. You don't. But hey, if it doesn't happen, I'll take the L. If it does not happen, I'll take the L. But my goodness, this would be a whole bunch of bad writing if none of this led nowhere. That would be crazy. But moving on. The Iron Giant falls to the ocean after being pushed by the Gorosei. I guess the transponder snail is knocked out, but Vegapunk is still talking. So I'm not sure if that's going to go anywhere, but yeah. And as he's on his way down, he has sunk a naval vessel because we see one right next to him. All those poor Marines. It looks like there's a little guy there are two guys actually at the top of the vessel. So bad. Tough luck, Marines. And the robot's just asking, where'd you go, Nika? I heard you. Where'd you go? How strange. The Marines are reacting to Warcree's boar form, and the people around the world are reacting to Vegapunk's message going blank all of a sudden. We get shots in this weird village where it kind of looks Chinese themed, but the tops of buildings like have horn ornaments on them. I don't know where this is. Following that, we shot back to Alabasta. We see Koza, and I think the young boy that was with Koza, I forgot his name, but yeah, we shoot back to them. We go to Whiskey Peak, in which we see Mr. Nine and Miss Monday, and their child has a little crown like his daddy. That's great. They're reacting to the news. Back to Dressrosa. Leo's like, oh, Luffy Land really did kill Vegapunk. And Rebecca's like, come on now. Very funny. Then shooting back to Egghead, the elders ask, how many Vegapunks of you are left? And then York's like, other than me? Well, there are Vegapunk Lilith and Vegapunk Atlas left who can interface with Punk Records. So now the Gorosei of Warcree and I believe Saturn are on a mission to eliminate Lilith and Atlas. So, talking about this, we find out that Punk Records will continue to keep functioning and grow even though Vegapunk Stella is dead. A lot of people were touching on this all throughout Egghead, saying that Vegapunk Stella is a fake body, he's not a real body, etc., etc. Even though that is technically wrong in a way, it's also technically true because Vegapunk Stella, in the grand scheme of things, does not matter. It is Punk Records that matters because that is actually where all the information is being held. So that means that the devil fruit, known as the brain fruit, will not go back into circulation because its user in a way is still alive. Additionally, I think this is where the world government takes the biggest loss because I've said many times before, and we will make a separate video about this, but I have always said that I think Vegapunk York is going to be captured by the Blackbeard pirates because it would make so much sense for them to lose everything, but to still have the Mother Flame and Punk Records, but have no means of actually accessing either. In a funny way, kind of making them like Roger when he first found the One Piece. He was too early and presumably couldn't do anything with it. So they would be in a similar situation to Roger at that point. They have the Punk Records, they have the Mother Flame, but can't really do much with either because they don't have York, and because they don't have York, they can't access Punk Records, nor can they use the Mother Flame. So that's why I think she'll be captured. So they have to make do with what they have and go forth in that way, because right now they would have too much power if they were able to use Punk Records and the Mother Flame in tandem with one another. I think this is a way to knock the world government down to a suitable level so that they can be defeated in the future, because they're still a dangerous organization. But I think with Punk Records and the Mother Flame at their disposal, they could do everything they wanted to do, and all this setup and all these power increases that all these people are getting across the world, such as Cross Guild and now the Straw Hat Pirates, all of that would not matter if the world government was still sitting at the peak of their power. But bringing them down to the same level as everyone else makes the race for the One Piece and the control of the world way more interesting, because now they'll be at the same level as Blackbeard, as Luffy, as Cross Guild, as the Red Hair Pirates. All of these factions are around the same level of power. Notice I didn't say the Revolutionary Army, because they suck. They suck, and if any organization were to be eliminated off the face of the planet, it'd be them. They are all bums. That is why I think it's going to be Sabo leading a new revolutionary army by the end of the story. Because once again, what sense does it make for another one of Luffy's brothers to be perpetually in a bigger man's shadow? But getting back to the Vegapunks and who's going to be left, I think the only two that are going to be left are Lilith and York, the two even-numbered Vegapunks. Because if you notice, all the odd number Vegapunks are gone, and all the male Vegapunks are gone, up to Stella. So the only odd number Vegapunk left is Atlas. And the only ones who don't seem to have any robotic parts in them, who don't seem to be cyborgs, are Lilith and York. And I've kept saying this. That's what makes the two stand out, because both of them are fully biological as far as we know. They have no weird robotic parts. They have no obvious robotic attachments. They aren't literally robots like Pythagoras and Edison. So it's very likely that it's just going to be Lilith and York left. And if by some chance we get rid of Lilith too, which I don't think we will, seeing as how we were introduced to Vegapunk through her, it makes sense that she would be the last one to be around. Now, I don't think she's joining the crew. No, we have Frankie, like, obviously. But I think she'll go somewhere. There are a lot of options for her to go off to. Neomads is an option, because she is the evil aspect of Vegapunk. So I can see Lilith joining Neomads. Lilith could join Cross Guild, but I'm a little bit iffy on that, because she doesn't seem fit for that. You know, she doesn't seem like weirdly punny or weirdly circus themed any kind of way. So I'm unsure about that. But Neomads really does make the most sense if you ask me. But we'll see in the future. But yeah, they're going off to eliminate Vegapunk Atlas and Vegapunk Lilith. Moving forward, the Straw Hats, Broggy, Dory have fully met up with the rest of the giant pirates. Broggy, Dory, and Luffy head on to the giant ship. Saji's already there. And then we get the shot. But then we get the shot of Vice Admiral Dahl and Vice Admiral Bluegrass, along with the mechanical sea beasts, all turned into children. And Bonnie laughs at it. In the same panel, we see that Kashi has been knocked out by Dahl. He is having a rough time, but Luffy's still happy to see Oemon and Kashi. That's great. The Straw Hats are getting prepared to leave. I think this little shadow in the distance, in the shot of the Sunny, I think this is Saturn coming up the side again to attack Lilith. We'll see what happens, though. Either that or that's Nesjiro, Jinbei, and Zoro off in the distance. Because I think this is him here again in the next panel where Nami is talking. Mars swoops in to attack the giant ship. Meanwhile, something great happens. We have confirmation. In Elbaf, there is big food. In Elbaf, there is big food, baby. Yes. Oh, Elbaf is going to be blessed. Oh, yeah, baby. I am so happy about big food. This is fantastic. Big food puns. This is great. Elbaf is going to be blessed. I can't wait. And we also see a giant cook for the first time. We don't get a name confirmation. He reminds me of Wapple, honestly. A little bit. But yeah. This is cool. Mars attacks the ship with his fire breath. Two giants block it. Their names are Bjorn and Sig. I looked it up. Bjorn means bear, so that's cool. And I guess Sig may be short for Siegfried. So that's neat. They are kind of lit ablaze by the fire a little bit despite blocking it, because the one giant says, it's blistering. And I like how the Marines are reacting to this giant bird. because they don't know it's a Gorosei. They don't know. Bonnie then says, let's move Vegapunk and Daddy. They'll burn. And Atlas says, I'll carry them. Oof. So the death knell might be when Atlas gets knocked off if she's carrying Vegapunk and Kuba. Uh-oh. We'll see. Brock and Dory comment on how much of a problem Mars is. And I've said before, I think if there's any Gorosei walking away from this with significant damage, it's going to be Mars, because Mars is the only one that can actually impede their escape and actually chase them. So it would make sense for Mars to be wounded or knocked out in this tussle, or damaged in some way to where he can't fly anymore. Then something happens. I told you in a short. I told you. People said it wasn't possible. Luffy turns the water into rubber. I told you this was possible. I told you. I was thinking about it. I said, well, it shouldn't be impossible, because we see the water doesn't negate Dough Fruit abilities. He turns the water into rubber because the giant ship, as well as all the marine ships, are bouncing on the ocean. Bruh, I've collected W's, bruh. I'm going to be arrogant about it. I've collected W's across the board, brother. This is insane. Woohoo! They're bouncing. Luffy turns into Gear 5th. He says, Bunny! Everybody's like, whoa, Nika. But then Luffy says, again, I've got no idea who you're talking about. Now, I wonder, based on the fatigue thing that happens in Gear 5th, and based on what Kaido said about awakening, I wonder if there's still steps to go. Because I heard a lot of people talking about this, like he's awakened. He's truly awakened, but there's still more getting used to the ability, which would make sense because that's how a lot of the gears have been. The only one that has been sort of fully integrated into the kit upon its first appearance was Gear 2, and even then that got its activation sort of worked into the base kit of Luffy. So Gear 3 and Gear 4 were the ones in which there was a significant drawback in which Luffy couldn't do something afterward. Gear 5th has that, but the recovery time is very, very small, as opposed to Gear 4, in which the recovery time was minutes. Gear 3rd was equivalent to how long he stayed in the form, which would be how long he would stay a tiny chibi version of himself. So the drawback was equal to the time in which Gear 3rd was used. So Gear 5th will probably have a time in which it's fully mastered so that he could just pop in and out of it without him turning into an old man. That's what I'm getting to. There will be a time in which Gear 5th will have no drawbacks like the rest of the gears do now, because all the other gears have been mastered. Gear 2nd, Gear 3rd, and Gear 4th have no drawbacks. And the Gear 4th drawbacks have been eliminated pretty recently, as late as Onigashima. Because in Egghead, for example, he popped into Bound Man, and he's popped into Snake Man. In fact, he's went from Gear 4th Bound Man into Gear 5th. So yeah, I don't know if the mastery is understanding the lore of Nika, because I've often said Mythical Zoan mastery is actually living by the legend of which the Zoan is about, the thing that brought the Zoan into existence, right? So Luffy already has been doing that, so I don't know if he actually has to understand the name of the deity that he is to fully take advantage of it. I think that would be kind of against One Piece. But importantly, she thinks back to the start of Egghead, in which she questions Luffy about his water poster, and that's where he says, oh, that's just what I'm the most free. So she understands what it is, which also is very contextually important, because she understands what Nika is about. So she might just stop calling him that on her own accord, seeing as how she's connecting two and two together. Because it's like Nika's not about being a deity, Nika is about being free. And she is embodying that when she says, distorted future, give me a future where I'm totally free. And she turns to the Nika. Oh my God, bro. I can't get over it. I don't know what's wrapped around her waist. Maybe it's her Egghead outfit, but she's mimicking Luffy's sash. That's so cool, bruh. It's so cool. And Luffy's happy for her, striking the pose he did on Onigashima. And he says that's the spirit body. So he's literally teaching her how to become Nika, like a master would with an apprentice. I'm telling you, it's in the book, bruh. I'm telling you, it's there. It's there. What else can it be? What else is it? How is she not an apprentice? Tell me. No, put it down in the comments if you don't believe me. If you disagree, put it in the comments, because I think this is as black and white as the pages of this manga. I'm telling you, bruh, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense if it's not that. And she gives him a reassuring yeah. So we got Luffy-ko, I guess. We got female Luffy, because that's what she looks like. She looks like female Luffy. She does. She really does. Oh, man, the parallels, the anti-eyebrow, it's all been there from the beginning, brother. I did so many videos on this. I've been standing Bonnie for a very long time. I've always known that she was going to be an apprentice. I didn't know she was literally going to be this, though. So this is even better. I'm flabbergasted. Even though I just talked about it for like 30 minutes, I'm flabbergasted again upon seeing it again. This is fantastic. So moving on. The Gorosei actually sense that she has become Nika. So she's really Nika in this moment. Now, what powers will she have? I don't know, because she's never been able to stretch exactly like Luffy. Because when she first thinks of Nika, she only copies Gear 3rd. So I don't know how far this is going to go, but I could believe it could go very far. Because you can use her power to do a lot of what Luffy is doing right now. So I'll just say, I don't know. We'll have to see. She could maybe take off her anti-eyebrow, use it as a sword. These things are possible. All these things are possible. I'm not going to say they aren't. And it seems as though she's making the same beat noise that he's doing, because her heart's going don, do, to, like his. We get the effect of blow them here. So yeah, no. And I don't know, she's bouncing. Yeah, because she can affect their surroundings like rubber, but I don't know if she is rubber. I don't know, bro. We have to see. The Giants are saying, whoa, 2 NIKAS. And then the Marine says they've become albino giants. It's so funny, because I've always called Luffy the magical albino when he turns into Gear 5th. It's canon, baby. We have to see the official, but I'm calling it canon now. That's so funny. Oh, boy. Luffy says, let's do this. Mars is shocked because it happened. Mars is shocked because she put 2 and 2 together. Oh no. And we get a final shot of the robot in the ocean. He says, there you are. Now, people have been saying that he's talking about Bonnie. No. He's still talking about Luffy. I think the resonance is just stronger because it's 2 of them. I think so. I think the resonance is just stronger because it's 2 of them. Because I don't think the age fruit had a user in the past that could achieve the same form as Nika. I think the purpose of using Bonnie in this way, because she was originally most likely going to be an anti-Nika weapon if Nika ever showed up again. That's what I'm kind of leaning towards. And I've heard people talk about that. I'm kind of believing that. Not that exactly, but people have been touching upon the same area. And I'm kind of going that way because her ability is knocking on the door of being as ridiculous as Luffy's fruit. So if there was ever a sister fruit to the human fruit model Nika, it would be the age fruit. Oh man, what a chapter. No break next week, bruh. Woo, lad. I'm telling you. Oh man. Bruh, I called it she would be an apprentice. I can't believe it. I simply can't. But now I have to say this in relation to Stussy. Like Stussy, Bonnie is now a clone because her fruit allowed her to be a clone of Nika. We know Stussy's nature is being a clone in being the clone of Miss Buckingham Stussy. So what I think is going to happen is that they're going to join at the same time. But with the Sunny now, what Stussy could be able to do is that she might be able to turn into a giant version of her vampire bat. What I mean by that is she could be big enough or have a form that is big enough, because the weird part about Zoans now is that they seem to be whatever the user wants them to be. I know that sounds a little vague, but seeing as how like the Gorosei can become larger on a whim and Luffy can become larger on a whim, this might be an ability that Zoans can just do if they are masterful enough. We've also seen this with Chopper too, because Monster Point is humongous. It's bigger than Heavy Point. It's bigger than anything he has. So it's within a Zoan to become big if they have enough mastery over their fruit. So seeing as how the nature of Stussie's fruit isn't too clear yet, because I've often said that her fruit is the fruit we see Caesar Clown holding in chapter 1072, seeing as how that is the chapter in which she's revealed to be a Zoan fruit user and the chapter in which she's revealed to be a clone, it would make sense that she could perhaps become a giant vampire bat, right? And simply lift the Sunny off the ground and fly into the ocean. Or perhaps she can like act as a paraglider. So when the Sunny performs coup de burst, she can then glide the Sunny farther out to sea, totally negating all the naval ships and the giant ships and landing the Straw Hats into safety. That's what I think is the most possible. Either that, or when the Sunny coup de bursts, she's the one who actually helps retrieve Jinbei and Zoro by becoming a giant bat and lifting them into safety, flying them over all the chaos and battle back onto the Sunny. I think either of those two things are possible. It's still a possibility that she acts as a stowaway, but I'm leaning more towards that based on the information that we have now. It may not be possible, but I'm thinking it could be the case simply because the true nature of her fruit is shrouded in mystery. I've often said, because I've made 2 videos about her now, that she is probably not a mythical Zoan, simply because no mythical Zoan in the franchise had made the jump from video game into manga. We have one case in which a video game fruit has made the jump into the anime, but it was an anime filler, and that's the mini fruit. The mini fruit was held by a giant in a video game and then held by another giant in the filler of the anime. And that was Lily in Stomach. She had the mini fruit like the giant from the, I believe it was a GBA game. So with Patrick Redfield, who is from the 3DS game, I don't think his fruit is going to be canon. And seeing as how we've seen his fruit already, we've seen how the bat fruit model vampire looks, I don't think his fruit is what Stussy has. What Stussy has, most likely, seeing as how it's in the same chapter in which everything else is revealed about her, is the fruit that Caesar Clown was holding. And Caesar Clown was not holding a regular devil fruit. He was holding some weird hybrid fruit, because like I said before, it looked like a cross between what you would expect a smile fruit to look like, but with the stem of a normal devil fruit. So we don't know what kind of abilities this fruit will have, but I still say it is just a normal vampire bat, but we don't know what this normal vampire bat can do. So maybe she can access the gigantification easier than most Zoans. Perhaps she's more skilled than most Zoans, because the amount of skilled Zoans in the series is a very, very small pool, because now we know, based on seeing the girl say now and looking at Lucy in this art, Lucy is roughly where Luffy is in terms of awakening mastery. Like, you can access it, but there seem to be different levels of it. And I don't think this is exclusively for mythical Zoans. I think this is for Zoans across the board. The only thing that separates mythical Zoans and Zoans is that Zoans have all these extra abilities, but in terms of like natural gigantification and all that, that seems to be available for everyone just looking at Chopper. Because Chopper is a normal Zoan as far as we know. He is the user of the human fruit, and when he goes into Monster Point is humongous. Monster Point is, I believe, nearly as big as Big Mom. So he gets humongous. He gets big. So with all that being said, I'm saying that it's very, very possible that gigantification is available for all Zoans. And seeing as how Stussy presumably has had her fruit for a very long time, it wouldn't surprise me that she has a level of mastery that not a lot of Zoans in the series have. Because even if you look at back with, like, say, the Beast Pirates, right? None of the Beast Pirates were good Zoan. Not one of them. Some were strong and adept at using what they had, and that was sort of the theme of the Beast Pirates. None of them were particularly skilled Delphi users, but what they had was enough. So with that being said, the amount of Zoans that are truly skilled are few and far between. And this list shortens even more when you start to talk about mythical Zoans. That's why I said, too, if any Zoan was to be a good Zoan when it came to the Beast Pirate organization, it would be Yamato. And that's why she stands out, because Yamato had a Shroud of Mastery, had a Hiragamo. I know I keep mispronouncing that, but yeah, the clouds around the awakened Zoan, that's what she has. So what sets her apart too from, like, say, Lucy, is that she had it in a hybrid state and she had it in a beast form. So that's the first instance in the series in which we see that the awakened Sash appears in multiple forms. That hasn't happened with any other characters besides the Gorosei, which means something. But based on what we see with Stussy, I think she could be anything when it comes to being a vampire bat. I don't think she'll be the mythical creature like I've been talking about, and like I've said in previous videos, but I do think she's just a regular vampire bat. And I think her mastery is probably, if I had to put it somewhere, probably where Chopper's is, or maybe a tinge better, in which she can just pull out any aspect of the bat that she desires at that time and then just use it. But with all that being said, I think I am done. So give me your thoughts, man. Woo!